2 sessions, and we'll run right through until June. We're looking at debt. Boo, hiss, boo, hiss. Again, not all debt is bad. Taking on debt to buying a home, taking on debt for paying for part of your post-secondary university, paying for yourself is fantastic. But lots of people, of course, don't do that. They ramp up this ridiculous debt. Talk about tax-free savings accounts. There's there's more than that, but we'll keep it simple. There's 3 registered accounts that we can take advantage of that give us tax relief. Tax-free savings account, RRSPs, and RESPs. We'll talk about 2 of those today. We're going to look at an RESP also, how that works. A little bit of discussion around Corv and exploring how bad it is to stay in Canada. Not from a loyalty perspective, but from a financial perspective. Investing in Canada virtually guarantees you long-term underperformance. We don't want that. We'll look at some sectors that are very hot, which ties in this idea of Core and Explore, and we'll do a little feedback loop at the end so that you can guide me in terms of these sessions and what you'd like to see more or less of going forward. First off, debt reduction. I'm going to start with a little story, then I'm going to look at this article. So I have a former student, Jessica Beamer, who's now a branch manager at one of the TD Canada Trusts. She's done really well for herself. She went to Laurier for Honors Biz, sharp young lady. 24, she's a branch manager already. Good for her. She was telling me that in her branch, she's got some very affluent customers, and once a day, this happens. Somebody rolls in a Mercedes-Benz or an Audi or some super nice car with an Armani suit looking like $1 million, walks up, and they've got, of course, the little access card they put in, and then they can sell their accounts, and they've got massive debt. Matter of fact, the number she used, I've got some people here who are in class who confirm, she used the number $600,000 on a HELOC, home equity line of credit, which is not a mortgage. That means that that particular customer has borrowed $600,000 to finance their Audi, to finance their Armani suit, to finance their lifestyle. So just a reminder about living within your means. I'll tell you another story like that just to give you a glimpse into what that looks like. I have a co-op student, and for those of you who are in class period 1 today, sorry for hearing this a second time. I have a co-op student who is placed at Mercedes-Benz. So yesterday I went to visit the student. My student is a mechanic, an auto service tech. So I'm sitting in the showroom just waiting for him, and I'm looking at these sick cars. So I saw a 2017 Mercedes-Benz Coupe convertible, loaded, $150,000. Used. It went into service April 2017, and it's on sale. It's back in the showroom now. Used, $150,000. So I said to my supervisor when he came out, I said, explain this to me. You know, the owner of that car only owned that car for like 8 months. How possibly can they be handing it back? He said, oh, we get lots of customers that just come in for a summer car. They come in and they buy a car, and they have to have the new car every year. They have to have a new car every year. They come in and buy a new car, they drive it for the summer, then sell it back to us because they know next summer they're going to get another new car. And I said, okay, how much did that cost that guy? He said between $30,000 and $50,000. So we would have sold that car to him for $200,000. We would have bought it back for him somewhere in the 150, 160, 170 range. So this idea of just massive debt accumulation. Don't forget, the bank's happy to give you access to debt. If I wanted to right now, I could go and probably put my hands on $200,000, $300,000, $400,000. I could bring it home, I could put it in the tub, I could get in, I could roll around with it. The bank wants to give you money. And many Canadians suffer with this. They've been given access to money and they can't control themselves. This was over Christmas. I was still thinking of you, even though I wasn't here. Debt reduction remains high priority. Poll shows Canadians know they should spend less, but keep spending more. In other words, that's addiction. That's the definition of addiction. I know I shouldn't do something, but I can't help myself. I still do. They're addicted to debt. Canadians are keen to lighten their debt loads in 2018, according to an annual survey. TD, Toronto-based bank, says debt reduction or elimination top priority for 1 in 4 respondents. Paying bills or just getting by was the top goal for 15%. I would just like to pay my bills this year. That's all I'd like to do. I'd just like to get by. Amazing. By comparison, 13% said their top priority was wealth or investments. Amazing. 87% are just coping paycheck to paycheck. 13% are actually thinking about savings. Lower on the list of things: vacation, retirement, house or rental. Online survey conducted in early December, just before Christmas. High level of Canadian household debt has been cited by the Bank of Canada for years as one of its top concerns. Level of household debt is getting insane, hitting 171% of disposable income. What that means is that for every dollar of income, now disposable income means money that you have left over after you pay stuff you have to, like your mortgage and stuff like that. Disposable income, for every buck of that, consumers had $1.71 in credit market debt. Ouch. Amazing. Ms. Walker.
I feel like shopping online has made that a bigger problem.
Without a doubt. Cashless society has made that. I mean, if you think about it, your grandparents probably pay everything with cash. You probably laugh at them. If you talk to your grandparents, they buy cars with cash because they're depression families. And so they know that times can get lean and I don't want to take on debt. But now, you know, you don't even pay cash. It's all online. It's PayPal, blah, 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 blah. All right, let's talk about savings and how to save. The government gives us several ways to protect and grow our money tax-free. This is incredibly important. This is one of the reasons I never work a summer job. Because at my income level, if I go work at a summer job and I make $4,000, the government takes half. Yikes. You guys virtually pay no tax because you're at a very low income threshold. You get to keep your money. Enjoy it while it lasts. You're going to pay, and you're going to pay a lot. You're looking at one of the reasons you pay. Coming to school is free. I'm not free. The government pays me. When we go to the doctor, when we go to the hospital, it's free. It's not free. It's all government charges. They're going to tax you to pay for all of that. So we want to take advantage of tax-free opportunities. And this is a fantastic tax-free opportunity. They even labeled the account the tax-free savings account. Your annual limit is $5,500. You cannot open one until you're 18. So if you've got some money saved up, that's fine. Once you turn 18, you can open it and you can put money in. And you can take money out at any time. There's no penalties for taking money out. And also, you don't get taxed if you take the money out. How efficient and effective is this? Well, if you and your honey are able to hit the limit and save and make saving a priority, think David Chilton, pay yourself first. You've seen this Excel sheet that I've used before. So this is you and your honey. How much can I save bi-weekly? As I mentioned to you, the annual limit for a tax-free savings account is $5,500. They're going to index it, which means it'll go up in the years to come. But it's $5,500 for now.
Doug Wank, Mike Wank, and you, Red Wank, please, to guide.
If you and your honey both commit to maxing out your tax-free savings account, that means you have $5,500 times 2 is $11,000, and you're going to do that every paycheck. Notice the table I've got set up here is a bi-weekly paycheck. So what that means is you and your honey are going to save $400 every pay. And if that's all you do, like literally, if you do not even remember anything I taught you, if you and your honey can just get a tax-free savings account and you max it every year and you let that money grow and it will grow tax-free, and you do that for decades, in other words, through your earning years, 40 years, let's say from when you're 20 to 60, and you get a modest 7% rate of return, which is very modest. Obviously, we need to be in equities. We need to be invested in the stock markets. We get that. But you don't have to be super aggressive to get 7. Look at the number. You and your honey would arrive at retirement with $2.4 million. And I would suggest to you that that would be effortless, saving $400 a paycheck. Think about it. When you're going into your career, and you're, a manager, think of our young Jessica there, in her mid-20s already a manager, saving $200 a paycheck is very, very reasonable. So a tax-free savings account, I would suggest for a young Canadian, is the #1 strategy. Now here's what you have to do, keep your hands off it when it comes to buying a car, or buying a house, or paying for your wedding, or a vacation. In other words, you've got to view that money as being hidden. That is my money for retirement, long-term, I'm not doing anything with that, because when you're 30, and you're coming up on thinking about buying your first home, and you look at your tax-free savings account, you're like, wow, I got $60,000 in here. Oh man, I should use that for down payment. You shouldn't. You should let that grow. You should let that grow. Even though the housing market has been ridiculously expensive in Toronto and here and Vancouver in the last little while, the stock market outperforms real estate. It just does. And so we don't want to pull it out and put it in real estate. We want to let that money grow. All right, so my #1 piece of advice to you, tax-free savings account, $5,500 2018 limit, do it. RESPs. So grab a calculator or your phone and do the following. RESPs are something that was in place when you were born. when you were born,